I am Mrs. Russell, and this is my favorite part of introducing people to the art room, which is basically explaining the structure that you are going to learn in, because for the most part, it is quite different than what you have experienced in other classrooms. In other classrooms, you have probably experienced what is called whole group instruction. Essentially, there is a teacher at the front of the room, and then they guide the entire class through the learning progression, kind of like you are a herd of cattle. And instead, in this room, I do something that is called flipped instruction or flipped learning. And technically, to be even more specific, I use the method of a faux flipped classroom. Well, what does that mean? That means that all of those times when the teacher is standing in front of the room giving you information, and you can raise your hand if you have a question, but really you are just sitting and getting. I have taken that and I have put it into video tutorial form. There are a couple of definite advantages to this. One, you do not have to wait to ask your question. If you do not understand what I am saying, then you literally can hit pause on me and then go find actual me and ask me, because you're not interrupting anyone else. Two, if you don't have questions, you are not listening to other people's logistical questions. You get it. Let's move on. Three, sometimes you don't listen very well. And you're like, ooh, pause and rewind. Like I spaced out there for 15 seconds. Now you actually can pause and rewind me. Or if I get going too fast, you can pause and rewind. Particularly in an art room where you're trying to model something that you're seeing me draw or something that you're seeing me execute. And it's nice to be able to do with the teacher rather than trying to remember all those little teeny tiny steps that you saw the teacher doing. Okay, but not all learning is just sitting and getting, right? In fact, the majority of your learning doesn't happen through sit and get. Like if sit and get worked, your teachers would have been replaced with like the History Channel a long time ago, right? Instead, where students actually learn is in the doing. When you actually start using what you acquired during the sit and get. So that is the beauty of the classroom. My sole purpose is to spend the 42 minutes that we have engaged with you in the process of how to take what you saw and actually like learn it and then use it. For example, I can watch a surgeon do like a surgery, but that doesn't mean I know how to do the surgery, right? Now, obviously, I'm not teaching you surgery. If I would, you would probably be older, and I'd probably be making more money. But what we are doing is just as important. Well, okay, maybe not. But it's like a part of the cycle, right? At 15, you're going to be able to learn here so that by the time you're 23, you can learn there. And so that is what I do. In a traditional classroom, if you think about how many times in a 42-minute period is your teacher able to speak to you one-on-one? Probably, if you thought about it, it might happen with a greeting at the door. It happens if you are someone who's very vocal about your learning. You might be able to ask one question in 42 minutes. And then it might happen when you leave the classroom. But in this class, because you don't have to wait for me to give instruction, you actually should be engaging with me at a minimum of one time. And in fact, I don't let you leave the room unless we talk about your learning one time. That doesn't count me greeting you at the door, and that doesn't count me greeting or saying goodbye to you as you leave. But most students average teacher interaction 2 or 3 times, because you are also going to get a packet or some sort of guide that's going to tell you like step 1, do this, step 2, do this. Well, in order to count a step as complete, you have to actually check in with me and show me what you did, which is the another advantage of the flipped instruction, is that rather than wait for teachers to hand something back to you, you're going to get feedback on how you did on your learning immediately. If you make something, the next moment you come to me, we're going to look at the rubric, we're going to assess it, and then you might decide, I'm not ready to turn that in. I'm going to give that feedback you gave me, Miss Russell. I'm going to go correct and fix what I have done, or I'm going to ask for you to help me, and then I'm going to correct and fix what I did, and then I'm going to get it reassessed, which is why grades are actually significantly higher in my room post-flipping than pre-flipping. the whole learning process is actually higher. The last little thing that I want to tell you is how the classroom works. So essentially, I have what I call a donut, right? I have an outer ring and an inner ring. So right now you are looking at the inner circle, and then if you can kind of see those seats in the back, those are a part of the outer ring. In a 3-day period, you are required to spend 1 day in the inner loop, and I call that loop the feedback loop. Essentially, these are all the students that I am constantly engaged with during that class. That doesn't mean, like I've said, I'm talking to every student, so that doesn't mean that you can't ask a question, but these are the students that get first priority. At any time, you are welcome to sit in a feedback seat for anywhere in between 5 or 10 minutes to get your questions answered, and then it's only that one every 3 days that I actually want you to spend your whole time at a feedback seat. The outer loop is for students who have received the feedback and now they just need to execute. Maybe we talked about what they did and they're currently working on it, or they created a plan and now they're implementing it. So those are students who are only needing to check in with me because they complete something. Otherwise, they know exactly what they're doing and they're spending their time executing that plan. The last thing that I will tell you is that if, let's say it's crazy and every single seat is full, there is no feedback seat option available. You have 2 choices. Choice number 1 is you need to send me an email. And I have posted in my classroom on the big sign where you can get my email address. The second thing that you can do is you can take a number. So we're going on a little walk. Okay, I'm going to stop walking you and I'm going to walk you. Right here, I have a little sign that says take a number, and then you literally take a number. And this helps remind you, and it helps remind me that you are stuck and you need help. With that, I am so excited for you to engage in this process. It's going to feel new and it's going to feel different, but after 7-ish, 8, I'm on my 8th year of teaching using this method, I have to tell you that the results are absolutely astounding, and it's going to make you wish all your teachers taught this way. With that, I'm excited for us to start our learning.